welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are just joining me for the very first time, my name is Madeko and my brand is Zumamiko. I am a crocheter. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate the support. So this channel was designed for me to continue along the journey of appreciating the art of crochet. I went through a phase where like the business part of Zumamiko started to kind of overshadow the passion, and I didn't want to do that. And so I put a lot of stepping stones in place for me to be able to get back to just the art and the raw passion of crocheting. And so this channel was designed to be just one of those avenues. So far in our journey together on this channel, we have done amigurumi basics, which is where I took you through just some of the basics of the art of crochet, specifically in the amigurumi community, which is like stuffed crochet art. We also have transitioned into crochet alongs. And the crochet along, so far we've done 2 projects. The first one was our bear earmuffs, and the second was our cute little penguin with the pom-pom with a little swag on him. And so for today, we are continuing with the crochet alongs, and we are going to explore the Rubik's Cube. And so, as I said in my previous videos, the projects that we will explore on Mondays, I will actually introduce on my IG page the previous week. So the Rubik's Cube was actually presented last Wednesday. So if you're not following me on IG, I suggest you do so just so you know kind of what's coming up, so you can kind of brace yourself, prepare yourself for that. Also, I wanted to mention this is the very first passion project of the year. So the Rubik's Cube this time around was a passion project, which means that it is available on my blog. And the passion project was just another avenue I started last year to get back into the raw passion, the raw, just therapeutic, at its core, enjoying crochet just in its purest form. And so that was my initiative last year, to not only enjoy the art, get back to enjoying the art for myself, but to also share that journey with other people. So go ahead and visit my blog. There's a new pattern that's released every single month on there. It's on my website, Zumamiko, Z-U-Z-A, Lord help me, Zumamiko. That's it. .com. Go ahead and visit that. And don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And I won't hold you. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so let's get started with making the squares of our Rubik's Cube. I'm going to show you the yellow one, and then I'll go off camera to show you, I'll go off camera to do the other ones, and I'll show you what that looks like when we get back. The squares individually are actually really, really simple. I'm putting a row counter on right now just because I don't like to count straight rows. It's just kind of one of my pet peeves. And the counter makes it easier. The stitch counter makes it a little bit easier for me. Okay, so the first row in our square is going to be a chain 13. So let me go ahead and do that really quickly. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, because we want our square to be 12 stitches. So in our chain, we want to create 13, because when we fold over, that's going to kind of take one of our chains away. So we're going to do a 12 by 12 square, 12 stitches by 12 rows. So let's go ahead and do that. That's 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12. So what I like to do when I get to the end, and we are going to chain 1, When I go to the end and I chain one, I actually like to tuck this tail. Again, I say in my videos, your girl hates to weave in ends. So I tuck that tail up and then do my chain one so that when you turn your work, you can just crochet right on top of that. And it just makes it so much easier so you don't have to weave in ends at the end. So at this point, if you're going to follow the method that I'm using, which is to use that stitch marker, I just put a 1 on there so I know that it's one row that I just did. Again, for some reason, I don't like to count rows. It's a pet peeve. So this thing just makes it a little easier for me. So I'm going to show you one more row and then speed through the other rows just for viewing ease. So we're going to go into that first stitch, and going into that first stitch, just going to make sure that our square stays square. If we don't go into that first stitch, your work will start to look a little bit wonky. So make sure you do that. So the inspiration behind this particular project was my little one, as are a lot of my projects actually these days. In my last video, I was explaining that over the winter break, I was trying to plan for my 2025 content, and I ran into a wall, so I asked my kids to help me, and this is one of the projects that my little one was adamant about. Like, she really wants a Rubik's Cube. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to her. Okay, so that was row number 2. I'm going to go ahead and put a 2 on my stitch marker. That was row number 2. So let me go ahead and do rows 3 through 12. Just speed it up a little bit so you're not watching me and, being bored as I go through this. So let me go ahead and speed through, and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, so we are on our last couple stitches here of our row number 12, and that is my last one. So what I'm going to do now is fasten off. You don't really need a long tail for sewing because our tail is going to be tucked in anyways. So this is what it looks like so far, and we are going to do this for all of our colors. So you're going to do this for your red, your blue, your orange, your green, your white. Okay, 12 stitches by 12 rows. Let me go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back here. All right, so I went ahead and did all of my colors off camera. These are 4 of them. And what I want to do now is take you through how to do the inside of the squares. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm looking for my black yarn. There we go. Oh, a black yarn fell in my bucket of yarn, and so I had to retrieve it. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to take my black yarn, and we are going to weave in the center of these circles. Okay, we're going to weave kind of like a tic-tac-toe sign in the center of our circles. So because we did 12 stitches by 12 rows, we want to do 4 rows. Every 4 rows, we're going to do a division, and every 4 stitches, we're going to do a division. So let me show you what that looks like. So for me, my 4th row is right here. My 8th row was there, and then that leaves 4 more for 12. So what I'm going to do in my 4th row, all the way as far as we can go in that first stitch, I'm going to insert my crochet hook, and I'm going to attach my yarn. If I can find the end of it, there it is. I'm going to attach my yarn, so pull through. And I'm just going to go into the next stitch, pull my yarn through, and then through that first loop. So insert your hook, pull yarn over, pull through, and then pull through that loop. And it's going to look like a chain. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. When you pull through, you should see 2 loops. You're going to pull that first loop through the second loop. And we're just going to do that all the way down in every stitch. In theory, you should have 12, but it doesn't really matter how many you have as long as you go all the way down the row. So we're putting our hook in, yarning over, and then pulling through all the way down. When you get to the end, I'm not at the end yet. There we go. When you get to the end, just go ahead and do a slip stitch, and then we're going to cut our tail. You don't need it for sewing, so you can cut the tail pretty short, okay? So that's our first one. Then we're going to go 4 more rows up, which is for me right here, and we're going to do the same thing. So attach our yarn, pull that through. Uh-oh, I only got some of my yarn. There we go. Go into that next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and do that all the way down. And this pattern is very forgiving. If you want to make your Rubik's Cube a little bit bigger, you can do that. Just make sure it's an even number. The number is divisible by 3 because you need even squares. Okay, and there's 9 total squares in the Rubik's Cube. It's a 3 by 3, so you need to make sure your whatever you increase by is divisible by 3. Okay, so this is where we are so far. Now we need to turn our work, and we need to do our, when you're turned this way, we need to do our vertical lines. So we're going to do every 4 stitches, just like we did every 4 rows. We're going to do every 4 stitches here just to make sure it's even. So for me, that's, where are we? 1, 2, 3, right there. So I'm going to do the same thing. This part is just a little bit different. I wouldn't say uh-oh, let me get my, oh, I didn't have it in my finger. That's what happened. It's different. I wouldn't say it's harder or easier. It's just different because when we went horizontally, we saw a clear line. You see the clear distinction because that's our row. When we're going vertically, it's a little bit different because you're counting by stitch. You're not counting by row. So you have to make sure that as you're going up by the same number of stitches. And what I mean by that is I counted 4, so I inserted my hook at 4. I need to make sure that all the way up, I am counting 4 stitches. So I'm on my, was this my 3rd row now? So 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to make sure I'm inserting at that 4. Okay, so you want to do that all the way up. If you don't, you will end up with a crooked line, and it's just going to make your work look just weird. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just going to make it look weird. So Rubik's Cube is a lot of symmetry, and so if your symmetry is off, then the finished product will not look as neat. Okay, so just keep that in mind as you're going up. All right, I'm just doing another check here to make sure I am going by 4s. And same thing when we get to the top as we did with the other sides. I don't need that tail for sewing, so I'm just going to cut it off really short and fasten off like that. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. So 1, 2, 3, this is my 4th. And you should have 4 left over. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. There we go. Fun fact, you can actually use this method to attach hair to dolls also. It's a little bit different, but the concept is pretty much the same in attaching hair to dolls. It's a very, very tedious process, but the finished product comes out so much better when you attach the hair individually versus not. I actually do this with my lion, and I think it takes longer to attach the hair than it does to actually crochet the lion itself. But I've tried all kind of different methods to get the hair onto the lion different, and that's the best way. And it works so well. It's just time consuming. Very time consuming. Alright, so we are at the last one. And I'm going to cut this. And there we go. Look like a tic-tac-toe when you're done. But you should have every 4 rows should be a black line. Every 4 stitches should be a black line. And this is what you should be looking like. Okay, so give me a second to do all of mine, and I'll meet you back here. All right, so I went ahead and did my tic-tac-toes on all of my colors. So the next thing we want to do is to do a single crochet all the way around in our black yarn. And so because our square is a 12 stitch by 12 rows, we want to try to put 12 single crochets in black as a border around. The reason it's important to put an equal amount of crochets of single crochets all the way around is because we're going to connect this to make our cube, and we want to make sure that we have an equal amount on each side. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll do the yellow. This is not yellow. This is orange. I'll do the orange for us, and then I'll go off screen and do the rest and then show you how to put it together. So when I do the single crochets, I'm not going into the actual stitches unless it's like, you see how some of these don't actually go all the way to the edge. I'm going to do a full single crochet like in the actual stitch here, but the rest of them I just want to pull up one loop. And the reason I want to do that is because if you go into the stitch, the entire stitch, you're going to see that V kind of peek through, and I don't want that. So I'm going to take my yarn, attach, and I'm going to do 12 single crochets around, just pulling up one loop. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can work around this this line that we made. Was that 5? Tuck your yarn as you go. Where are you? 6. There we go. 7, 8, 9. Tuck this yarn. 10. Yeah, let's do this one. 10. And a lot of this is judgment, so just make sure you have 12. 10, 11, and then 12. And then when I get to the end, I'm actually going to do a single crochet, chain 1, and then a single crochet just to make our square. So let's do another 12. 1, 2, 3, and let me go ahead and go all the way around, and I'll meet you back here. All right, so now that we have all of our pieces bordered out, what we want to do is start connecting them. And I think this is the last part of our process, aside from stuffing. So what we want to do is we want to attach 4 of our squares together, and then we are going to put 1 on each side. I'm actually missing my white, so I have to do my white before we start attaching. But this is how it's, just imagine the white is right here. This is how we're going to do it, and then we'll fold it to make the actual square. So let me show you what I did here to go ahead and attach. So let me take those off. And so what I did was just put these wrong sides together, put these together, tuck in our tails here because they are going to go in the center of our cube. Just go ahead and tuck all that in. And we can actually use, this tail is long enough, we can probably use it. I don't want to chance it. I'm just going to tuck it in. All right, so we want to line these up pretty perfectly like that. And we're going to go back loop only, and we are doing, I'm going this one, and we are doing single slip stitches, excuse me. So let's attach our yarn, go ahead and tuck that in also. And black is really hard to work with if you don't have proper lighting, so just be kind to your eyes. Go as slow as you need to here because it is very difficult to work with black in a dim lit room. But we are just doing slip stitches, and I hope you all can see this in the actual camera because, like I said, black is really hard to work with. All right, so we're going back loops only, and we're going to do this all the way down. Back loops. And the reason you don't want to do a single crochet is, as I was like kind of testing this pattern out and I was trying different ways of doing this, the single crochet actually gives you a bit of a hump. If you want to accent the black line, I mean, feel free to do that. That's not the look I was going for, so I decided to go ahead and do it this way. and it just gives a much cleaner look. But like I say in all my videos, you know, this is yours. You can definitely make it your own. You don't have to follow what I'm doing to a T. This is just a template. All right, and this is my last stitch. Let me find that back loop. And I am actually going to fasten off here. And pull through. And so I did 2 off camera, so now I have 3 attached to one another. Once we start stuffing, that's going to give us a really, really nice line there. All right, so let me go ahead and attach the either the green or the red. I don't know what I want to do just yet. I'll attach this. Finish my white. For some reason, I left out the white. Maybe because it blended in with my table. And then I'll meet you back here to start the cube assembly. All right, so I am done attaching my 4 squares here, and I have a white and a red. That's the color, red, on the outside. So 1, 2, 3, 4. On the second square, I attached my white and my red. Now what we're going to do, the thought here is that we are going to fold this guy like that. And that's going to give us our square. Let me pan out so you can see that a little bit better. So that's going to be our cube. Okay, and so to attach, let me start here. So to attach is really the same concept as we did before. You can see all of these ends. I am not weaving those in. You can if you want to. I'm not weaving those in. So what we are doing is just tucking our ends in, and we are going to do just like before, where we are going to pick up the back loop only, and make sure you close, get tight enough to where you close that square. So I'm going to get that one and this one. And then you're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did all the way around. So for me, I'm just going to go ahead and speed through this, and then I'll meet you back to look at our finished product. All right, so I have sewn all the way around my cube. This is what we're looking like so far. And I left this opening right here because we want to go ahead and stuff this with our polyfill. So let me go ahead and do that. All right, let me go ahead and finish this guy off. So just like we did before, I'm gonna tuck in my strand. I'm gonna find that furthermost stitch. And if you find that you have gaps, that's okay. You can get your yarn needle and fill in the gaps. It's really not the end of the world. I just try to do as simple of a process as possible so I don't have to go back. But I might have to in all reality, because I think I saw some gaps in mine too. But it's okay. It's not the end of the world if you find gaps. I just want to let you guys know that. So let me just go ahead and do my slip stitch all the way around, and I do believe we will be done after this. So let me go ahead and do this, and I'll meet you back. All right, let me just go ahead and put that in there, shape this guy out, and we are done. We're done. I didn't fill this too much just because, I mean, at the end of the day, it is, you know, yarn and polyfill. So the sides will kind of burst because I don't have any reinforcement in here. I don't have any cardboard. I don't have any plastic in here to reinforce the sides from bursting out. So I didn't stuff too much, just enough so that the shape comes through. So I think my kid is going to have a good time with this. And that's it. We are done. Hopefully your project came out really nice. All right, and just like that, we are done. We are done. So hopefully your Rubik's Cube came out pretty cool. Pretty cool. I mentioned this on my IG page, but fun fact, I have never solved a Rubik's Cube. This is the closest that I've come to getting all the colors to match. If you have tips for me, go ahead and drop them in the comments, because your girl has never, ever, I haven't even come close to solving a Rubik's Cube. I hear there's a pattern involved, but it hasn't reached my brain cells just yet. So yeah, I'll stick to yarn, I guess. Hopefully this was beneficial for you all. Hopefully your Rubik's Cube came out pretty cute, and it'll be a cute addition to either your collection or photo prop or a gift to somebody. This one is going to my little one. She's been begging for it already. But thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for rocking out with me. Thank you for just the continued support. I appreciate you more than you know. Go ahead and like, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And again, don't forget to check out my blog, Zumamiko.com, and drop by my IG as well. Let's stay connected. All right, have a blessed day, everybody, and I will see you back here next week.